My first 3 months there, I accumulated over 120 hours of overtime because it was a unionized position. So I was only getting paid and mandated to work 35 hours a week. To put that into perspective, I had 15 teams that were mine. I had no assistants.
What's your history in terms of like a coach, an athlete? What's kind of the short story and how you got here today?
Short story. It's going to be tough. I'm old. So I started my first coaching job. It was in 2007. I started personal training at our university gym. So started out like most people do. I was studying kinesiology and got really interested in training. I played college basketball my freshman year, then realized that I was a 5'10" white guy, so I wasn't going to play very much, and transitioned into playing football. And my second season of football had a knee injury. It required surgery, so I just tore my meniscus. And it was during the recovery process for that knee injury where I was just obsessed with sports science, the rehab process, biomechanics. I just realized that it was something that I could obsess over, and not only obsess over, but practice everything I was learning in real time, which was incredibly motivating for me. Then as I came through that, I was like, I want to be a college strength coach. I had experience working with a bunch of the football players at our school, prepping them for the CFL Combine, because I'm Canadian. And I was like, okay, who is the best college strength coach in the nation? And that year, it was a gentleman named Ron McKeefery at the University of South Florida. So I reached out to him. He directed me to his assistant, Frank Wintrick, who became a very close friend and mentor of mine. And Frank said, listen, you can get yourself here and be here for 3 months. We'll take you. Mm-hmm. And the rules around that for Canadians at the time, or I don't know how it works for other countries, but if you're on a visitor's visa, you cannot have any source of revenue.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I couldn't earn any money of any kind for those 3 months. And so I had to save. At the time I was coming out of university. I was still finishing my last year. Mm-hmm. I got mono in like my second year, so I was 2 credits short of graduating. So I had to do an extra semester, which was a blessing because I got to do a research paper and be entrenched in research. So that final semester was working like 4 jobs and ended up saving up enough money. During that time also, I did a 1-week internship with Joe DeFranco. So I drove down to Jersey, spent a week with Joe and his coaches. And by the time that summer rolled around, I had saved up $12,000. It's like amazing. I can live for 3 months. And I get down to Florida, do the 3-month internship. While I'm there, my dad convinced me to do my master's degree. Okay. So I didn't have great grades in university until maybe my 3rd, 4th year, but I guess that was enough. They respect Canadian universities enough that was good enough to get in. I didn't need a GRE for that one because it was a Master of Arts at the time. I got in. I was like, great, I can keep interning, keep progressing through that. So a year went by, started my grad program, and there was a coaching change. And during that coaching change, the new coaches came in. They kind of saw me as Frank's guy, Ron's guy. So I didn't really get a fair shake, in my opinion. So I started applying for jobs. Mm-hmm. And I ended up landing an assistant position at Robert Morris University with Todd Hammer. Okay. So I left that master's degree early, started another master's degree at Robert Morris, went through those 2 years with Todd, and they were transformative in so many ways, which I'm sure we're going to get into. When I graduated, I had promised that my dad I would finish my first degree because I didn't want to leave a master's degree like 2 semesters, or I think it was even just 1 semester short. So at that point, a colleague of mine had gotten the head strength coach job at UTampa. Okay. So he hired me. Yeah. So I was able to go down, work for him, finish my degree. And when I graduated from that degree, my brother had just had his first kid. So I was like, man, I really want to be closer to my family. Started applying for jobs in Canada, ended up getting hired at Queen's University, which is like the Harvard of Canada. Yeah. I was also the first full-time strength and conditioning coach in Canadian collegiate athletics. That's awesome. No other school had a full-time dedicated strength coach.
That's wild.
Yeah, which was really cool. This was 2014. Mm-hmm. So I was there for a year. The infrastructure around that position just was not supportive of a healthy lifestyle, and I ended up burning out pretty significantly. My first 3 months there, I accumulated over 120 hours of overtime because it was a unionized position. So I was only getting paid and mandated to work 35 hours a week. To put that into perspective, I had 15 teams that were mine. I had no assistants.
15 sports teams?
15 sports teams.
How many athletes roughly do you think that was?
About 600.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so those were all mine.
Oh, dude.
And then I also had to teach a class, and I had to manage an internship class of 50 students.
Dang.
In 35
hours, which...
So they forced me to take 3 weeks off, during which time no one worked with the teams, just so I could kind of pay back that time in lieu. And it was just during that period where I realized, this isn't where I need to be. I got to a point where I couldn't give the athletes what I wanted to give them because I had nothing left. Yeah. And ended up leaving that position, started like personal training a little bit. That's when Master Athletic Performance was incorporated. Okay. But it was just me trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And at that point I was like, I'm done coaching. I'm just going to get a real job. Real job. So I started working as a functional rehabilitation specialist with an insurance company, which essentially was me coordinating treatment plans for individuals on disability trying to get back to work. Yeah. Which again, I didn't think much of it at the time, but it was a blessing because I got to work with so many different populations. Mm-hmm. It was also my first exposure to dealing with people with mental illness. And when you go from, can I swear?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
When you go from motherfucking a kid on a field
yeah.
to trying to convince Sally that it's okay to walk to the end of her driveway, it's a completely different communication dynamic.
That had to be a shock to the system.
But, that company did a phenomenal job of providing us continuing education. So that's when I learned about cognitive behavioral therapy, motivational interviewing. It started my interest in the human side of coaching. And I did that for 6 years while I built Master Athletic Performance. So throughout those 6 years, I got to a point where I was making twice as much in the online space as I was in my full-time job. Mm-hmm. And I called my mom. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go full in on this. Yeah. It's time. And she said some of the most impactful words to me. She said, if there's one person in the world that you can bet on, it should be yourself. And, my mother and my father are phenomenal human beings. I got so lucky with where I was, like who I was born to. And that was in 2021. Mm-hmm. Went full in. A year goes by. My then girlfriend, now wife, came on board about a year later. We started growing like crazy, started hiring assistant coaches. So at this point, we are the two of us. We have 5 other assistant coaches. Okay. It was around 2021 as well when Coach's Corner University started out. Mm-hmm. And it was me and my friend Tony Montgomery, who, if anyone knows Tony, incredibly intelligent man. He's now a PhD in cognitive neuroscience, specializing in military populations, a lot of psychedelic treatments, and the impact of exercise on all that, which is incredibly...
That's really cool research. And it's nice to see so much more of it coming to light now.
Oh, dude. Tony is just an amazing human being, former Marine.
Nice.
So and that was great while we were together. He stepped away when he was doing his PhD, just couldn't put the time and effort in, which I totally respect. And Coach's Corner University as a platform kind of stagnated. Mm-hmm. But throughout that time is when I started mentoring other coaches. Mm-hmm. And the mentorship grew. Mm-hmm. And now I'm at a point where mentorship is doing fantastic, coaching is doing fantastic. I'm now devoting my time back to the platform of Coach's Corner University as an educational community. I'm really excited about what the future holds there. So that's like my coaching arc of how I've gone through it.